All right, folks, it's me, Mike Vanderpool, and I am here today to talk through some HTML and CSS with you. Gonna have a drink of my coffee and make sure that we don't hear the sound of my throat. You probably heard that. Anyway, so we're here today, and I'm gonna walk through using OBS to make this happen. I've got a webcam set up here. This is my Sony a7S II. That's giving you this nice little shot of me that can go out of focus depending on how far back I go. That's not too bad there, but I do have a decent range kind of in the middle where I like to play, where I like to type. So this will work for any time I have information that I want you to focus on what I'm saying versus any other thing on the screen. I'm going to come into this shot here because that's going to remove all those other distractions of things on the page to read, everything else like that. So, and then I have another shot here. Specifically, boom, 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 boom. This is our code shot. So this is going to go ahead and this will take us to, you got me down in the lower corner because, whatever. And then I've got all of this code up in here so I can type things, I can do things. And this is going to be something I'm going to have available to everybody. And this is going to be, what should we call this? We should call this text basics. And why are we calling it text basics? Because this is text only. So when we think about information, text is where we typically start, and laying out your text properly so that it can be easily read by your audience, your user, should be your first concern. Yeah, we can make an argument that capturing attention is more important than the information because the user can't deal with the information until you have their attention, but that's a completely different subject. If we think about it, the attention is meant to grab them and lock them into this. So this is where we're going to play, because this, honestly, text on the page is one of the most important things that you will ever do as somebody trying to communicate a message. So a couple principles that we want to talk about. Grouping, which would be these, if we look at it, a grouping, a sentence, primary piece of grouping here, our fundamental piece. Well, actually, if we go even farther, a word, right? A word is a grouping of characters, and that grouping then conveys meaning, and we know that it is a group because of the space on both sides of the word. Next level up, we have our sentences. Our sentences start with a capital letter, end with a punctuation mark. That is the beginning and ending of a sentence. So that is another grouping that we've played with, used ever since we started learning about this stuff in grade school. On top of that, then we have our paragraphs. And paragraphs back in the day used to have some indenting going on, right? When we were typing on our grandma's typewriter or whatever it was, right? That indenting here. But you notice I tried to add some spaces, and browsers don't give a F about spaces. Anything more than one space. So one space is the same as a million spaces or infinite spaces. So one of the conventions that's come of this is now this extra spacing between paragraphs. And in this case here, we can look at some of the CSS. And what I've done is I've just added a margin bottom of 15 pixels. Maybe give us a little bit better there. Yeah, more spacing. Although now I've got some other problems I'm going to solve, so we'll put that back here for now. So, right, word, sentence, paragraph, paragraphs is the way that we group our ideas. And the way that we present those ideas and make it easier for a user to find those ideas is by using headings. So we have a top level heading here, which is a heading 1. We've styled this so that it has an underline underneath it, simply because it's a large grouping of subheadings. And here we have a subheading. You'll notice the spacing between this is on the top of the margin on the top of the heading 2 is less than the margin on the bottom, because this subheading and this paragraph is grouped together. So this idea of grouping is fundamental to communication. A real great example of this is end of Lord of the Rings, actually the Return of the King. You've got the arrangement of people standing next to each other, and you can see by the grouping of the people who's friendly with who. That said, this is just another test, checking this stuff out. I'm going to go back, and now I can switch to, I do have a desktop only camera, which is kind of cool. I can come in here and I can transition over to that. If I want you to focus primarily on the code and not me, that may be good. But again, if I want you to focus on me, I'm going to come right back here to this camera shot, and this is where I will present this information. So really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me. I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of this stuff. Really excited to help share what I know about design, learning, HTML, CSS, and all kinds of fun stuff. So appreciate your time today, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.